All right, great. Thanks everyone for joining the call. We're going to be recording this presentation, and I'm going to turn it over to Prachi Sabarat for to introduce her Hello Friend presentation. Take it away, Prachi.
Yeah. So, hello everyone. I'm Prachi Sabrad, and I'm here in India giving this talk at 9:45 p.m. And the talk today is called Hello Friend. So, I'm going to be taking some scenes from the show Mr. Robot, and I'm going to use it to explain some real world cybersecurity problems. So, some a few things about the show. I mean, it follows Elliot Anderson, who is white hat hacker by the day, like he's a security engineer by the day, securing servers for conglomerates, and um, he's a vigilante hacker by night. So, if you haven't seen the show, I've taken clips from season one, episode one, and season two, episode two. So, just a little spoiler alert before we get started. So, the first problem I'm going to talk about is insider threat. And a lot of companies don't realize how the biggest threat of data breach comes from within the company. It could just be a worker carelessly clicking on links he's not supposed to, or it could be an outsider who's planted himself as an employer inside the company to leak data. So, I mean, one example of insider threat could be Snowden. Like he worked in NSA and he told us about the surveillance program. So that's one example of insider threat. And to like have more perspective, let's watch a clip from Mr. Robot and see how how it shows about what it tells about insider threat. So as you could see in this clip, Elliot works. Elliot was trying to contain a DDoS attack that's happened in AllSafe, the company he works in, and he found something malicious. But instead of deleting it, he decided to give himself a root access. And in case you don't know about the show, he uses this. I mean, it's a little spoiler alert, but he uses this to hack into eCorp, a conglomerate. So this is a little bit about insider threat, and it's one of the biggest um, type of attack a company faces. And the amount of data that's leaked by malicious insiders is increasing every day. It went from 25% in 2016 to 34% in 2018, and it could be even more right now. So the cost due to the attack is also rising. So I mean, it's to contain this, we should make sure that we have trained good security awareness among the employers, because we want to avoid careless employers clicking on malicious links. We want to avoid that, and make sure you have good sims installed. Um, you're monitoring and logging all the behavior of different computers. That's some of the ways you could prevent insider threat. And so the next thing I want to talk about is social engineering. So before I begin, let's watch this clip. So in this in this scene, Elliot is pretending to be calling from a bank, and he asks this a few questions to this person to try and hack into his systems. So this is a phishing attack, phishing through over phone. So that's called a phishing attack. And you see how he sounded urgent? I mean, that's what a malicious person is going to do. He is going to sound urgent and I'm so sorry. Yeah. So he's going to sound urgent and he's going to um, try to get all the information. So to prevent it, I think you should limit public interaction, because one way Elliot found out about, got this guy's phone number is, he ran into him and pretended to not have his phone on him and tried to make a call, and he called himself and got his phone number. So be aware of who has your devices, and be aware of what you're posting on social media, because we post everything on social media these days, and it's very easy for anyone to know what you do, where you are, who you meet. So limit public interaction and take a minute, slow down. So the guy Elliot was speaking to did remember that it wasn't his security question. But even though he didn't slow down, he kept answering the questions, even though he probably realized that something's wrong. So take a minute, slow down before you click on a link. Ask yourself, did you really think you won like 50,000 rupees to out of nowhere? I mean, I don't. That's not gonna happen. You don't. You haven't got that much money in your bank account out of nowhere. So be skeptical. I mean, think, question what's happening. Like, am I supposed to be clicking this link? Um, so being skeptical is really important, and treat downloads with care. Um, you could get links. I mean, we all get malicious links. So make sure you know what you're clicking, who it's coming from. You trust the site. So treat downloads with care. Secure your devices with anti-malware softwares with passwords, encryptions, and check links. I mean, it could say it's a genuine link, but it could be, since it's hyperlinked, um, it might not be a genuine link. So make sure, be aware of what you click. So that was social engineering. And now I want to talk about IoT devices and how insecure they are. I mean, the world is moving towards IoT, so I think we should know how to prevent attacks and what IoT attack would look like. So in this clip, our character, she's named Susan Jacobs. She has a smart house, and it's been attacked, and everything's crazy, everything's screaming, the alarms are blaring, and her TV is just switching on its own. The thermostat is adjusting itself, and there was like superheated water pouring before earlier when she was taking bath. So I mean, anything can happen when you have a smart house, when you have IoT devices. um so I mean, since the world is moving towards IoT and smart devices, it's very important to secure them, because they are supposed to be small and compact. We don't really pay attention to its security, and like simple things like using default passwords. Changing default passwords could help a lot, and secure a lot of things. And we- so make sure, the, so these are few things that need to be secured. I mean, from the device to the cloud, all the different parts of an IoT device need to be secured. It should have, starting from the hardware, we need to find out a way to make the hardware itself secure. Our Alexa, Siri, I mean, what if it's just, I mean, it's always, we know that they're always listening to us. So we need to think if it's giving, it's leaking information. And so we need to be aware of the objects that we buy, the devices that we buy. So, and communication security, make sure everything is encrypted. It's really important to encrypt things. You should have firewall secure to know um, what's coming into your network, what's going out. You should monitor, even if it's your home. I mean, since it's 2020 and a lot of us are working from home, The workplace has come inside your house. So if your house isn't protected, you could say your work also is not protected. So it's important to secure our devices too, and you should maintain some cloud security. Have good access control, know who's able to access what. The another mistake that our character from the previous scene did was she just left her password lying around. So when her house was um, hacked and she was forced to leave her house, these people, the F society, moved into her house and made it their headquarters. And while they were trying to find out more about her and hack into her accounts, they found her Yahoo password just lying around in a post-it notes. Do not do that. Do not write your passwords anywhere for any people to see. I mean, you might think it's just your house and it's safe, but you never know. Susan didn't know. So, and that costed her dearly. So, do not leave your passwords lying around. Have good password. Have strong passwords. I mean, you should make sure that people. It's easy to brute force like the usual password are just 1 2 3 4 5, and don't have such simple guessable passwords. Have strong passwords and maintain a password management system. There are a lot of password management systems you could check online. So and have different passwords for different accounts. All of us, even if that ensures that even if your one account is secure, not all your accounts are. That ensures that even if your one account is compromised, your other accounts are still safe. So have strong passwords and good password policies. The next thing I want to talk about is ransomware. So I don't know if you're seeing the news, but a lot of corporations are having to pay money because their files have been encrypted. And in the show, the bank was attacked with a ransomware, and the company running the bank, they were forced to pay 5.9 million US dollars so that they could decrypt all the customer data. I mean, think about it. You go to a bank to draw some money, but their systems are encrypted and they cannot access your data. So they don't know who you are, if you have an account in their bank, how much money do you have, and you're not able to draw your money. So I mean, that's not just a loss for the company, also for the also for us as customers. So ransomware is one kind of attack which has been, I mean, corporations, universities, a lot of institutes are falling prey to ransomware. Yeah. So as you can see in the slide, every 11 seconds it's predicted I mean there's predicted to be a ransomware attack, like somewhere some company is going to lose their files. They're going to lose um, their access to their data, and they have to pay a heavy fine to get the decryption key. And so, how do we prevent it? How do we make sure ransom we don't get attacked by ransomware? Few of the safety precautions for any kind of attacks goes back to social engineering and password protection, encryption. So don't click on links because you might end up installing a ransomware software. So be sure what links you click, and scan emails for malware. Yes, emails, USBs, anything you get inside your system. Scan it. Make sure if you see a USB lying around, don't just plug it into your system. You could be installing something, so don't do that. Firewalls. Monitor what's coming into your network. I mean, an attacker could try to um, attack you with ransomware. So he's going to install something onto your system, so you should see it coming. So have firewalls and endpoint protections. um, and then keep backup. I mean, it's safe to have backup ensures that you don't have to pay the ransom immediately. I mean, it's still bad that someone has got access to your files, but backup would ensure that you don't have, I mean, you don't face any downtime. You don't, you know, go through. I mean, if you go walk into a bank and they have a ransomware, they can still use a backup to be able to give you your money. So keep backups. It depends upon the organization. Organization, do you want to do it like daily or monthly or annually? But have a good backup protection, and just in general protect your information. So that were just some five things I wanted to point that um, I wanted to talk about, and that's it. If you have any questions, I'll be open to taking them now. And yeah, Chris.
Yep. Thank you, Prachi. That was wonderful. And what I'm going to be doing now is taking questions in Discord as well as on this chat. You're going to be recorded, so just an FYI. Just want to make you aware. And please feel free to interact with Prachi. So thank you. So an applaud before we start.
Thank you. Yes. I'll also be on Discord if you want to interact there later.
Yeah, absolutely. So with Discord right now, everyone's just saying you're doing great. Thank you so much. So we have one question from Tom.
Mhm.
He asks, how can ordinary folks know what IoT devices to trust and which not to trust?
Um, I think, I mean, before we buy any kind of devices, we always check reviews, right? I mean, we know what company it is from. So, I mean, having reviews would be a good first step to see you're buying a good secure device. And there's just the usual steps. Anytime you get a device, just change the passwords. Don't let it have the default password, so that way you can have one. I mean, you can make sure it's secure. Just if you take just simple steps at home, it would um, it would help. It would go a big way. I mean, how many of us have changed our router passwords at home? It's probably still on default password. So make sure it's, I mean, just changing passwords is a good, I mean, reviews and changing passwords. There'll be two good steps to take.
The password that hi, I'm the person who asked the question. The password that came with my router, I noticed that like when we buy routers these days, they tend to come with these pretty good passwords. Do you
Mm-hmm.
feel we still shouldn't trust that, and we should kind of cross that out and change it?
Yeah, because I mean that password could be the same. I mean the same different device of the same model or from the same company
Mm,
could be using the same
mm.
password, right?
We don't know for
So
sure. Yeah.
yeah, you don't know for sure what other device has the same. I mean your neighbor could possibly have the same password.
Mhm.
So it's still good to have um, a custom made password. Change the passwords.
Thank you.
I hope I've
Wonderful.
answered your question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some other people are typing right now. So I'll kind of ask you a question. Somebody was saying like, oh, spear phishing is real scary. Tom was saying that. Do you have any recommendations to help with spear phishing besides what you've discussed already?
See, I mean, there are websites, right, which tell you if I mean, I think it's called phishing.com. There's a website in which you could just put in a link. If you find a link suspicious, just put in a link and it would say if it's an actual genuine site or not. So you could do that. You could rely on tools for that. And yeah, anytime you receive a phone call which sounds suspicious, don't answer it. Don't give your data. Yeah. So
Totally.
yeah.
And I guess I have a question for me is like, besides the security aspect, what was your favorite part of Mr. Robot?
But I would be like giving away spoilers if I say that. I mean, if you know the plot, the ending when you realize that I mean, the person we've been seeing for 4 seasons wasn't the person we thought. it was. I mean, just the aside from the security aspects, also the psychological aspect, I really liked it. I mean, the ending was my favorite part.
Hmm.
Nice. That's great. Yeah, that was really fun too. I think
Yes.
mine was when he thought he was in jail. I thought that was really beautiful
Oh
how they
yeah.
filmed that.
Yes.
That was really good.
That was really cool. I
Yeah,
mean,
it was. Yeah, and looks like a bunch of people are chatting. So Ringmaster Owen Winkler said Verizon provided routers a while back that had admin password that could be discovered by entering the SSID into a public website. Any
Ah,
thoughts on that?
sorry, I didn't get it.
Sure. So
Can you?
the question from Owen was that Verizon
Yep.
provided routers a while back
Mm-hmm.
that had the admin password that could be discovered by entering the SSID into a public website. Any thoughts
Yes.
on protecting that, or any kind of intelligence that you'll be able to recommend for the teams?
Um, I don't have the tools. I don't remember the names of the tools, but um, if the admin passwords, I mean, it's the as I have been saying, you could change it because yeah, you can find the admin passwords. I mean, these companies have the same password for every model, right? So if you put the SSID in, um, yeah, just changing it would do, I guess.
Got it. That's great. Any other questions from anyone? All right, great. So we'll still be on the call. This is going to be leading into the lunch break. So for anybody that is also attending any other Barcamp chats, please feel free to monitor the announcements, interact with fellow um, people that are at the talk. And then there's this also an open chat section. So if you want to interact on Discord video, please feel free. The Zoom chats are mainly for our presenters, but I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. So if you have any other further questions of Prachi, she'll be around. And Prachi, thank you again for putting this
Thank
together.
you.
I'm going to stop the recording so that people can still interact with you if they don't feel comfortable asking questions on recording. Yeah.